Welcome back, everybody, to Niners Now. I'm your host, Brady Grustas, at GrustasBrady on X. You can follow me there. And inspired by the NFL Top 100 releasing, and CMC being included, I'm going to make some more 49ers season predictions. We are doing superlatives today. And stick around until later in the show where I'll go over some of the most exciting games on the schedule for next season. Before we begin, go ahead and subscribe down below, leave a like, leave a comment, and let's get into it. So the NFL does this top 100 list every year during the offseason, where players vote on the top 100 players in the NFL. These votes are tallied and combined to make this overall list, which they release in segments during the summer. We're a few dozen names into the list, and the first 49er appeared last week. It's Christian McCaffrey. I'm never quite sure how the players rank these choices because this one is definitely a little bit weird to me. McCaffrey is awesome, don't get me wrong, and in a normal year, he's one of the best players on the team, but last year was not a normal year. He was obviously barely present. He played only 4 games. In 2023, which was his Offensive Player of the Year season, he was ranked number 3 on the list overall, so his ranking at 73rd this year is a far fall from grace. That definitely reflects what we saw from him last year, I'd say, but I'm honestly surprised that he was included at all. I guess his reputation precedes him. I'm hoping to see plenty more 49ers on the list. I hope we see Brock Purdy, hoping to see Fred Warner, Trent Williams, Nick Bosa, George Kittle. I'd love to see Diamador Lenore make an appearance on the list this year, but considering that Trent McDuffie and Christian Gonzalez, who were 2 of the best cornerbacks in the league, they were ranked all the way down in the 80s, so I don't think we're going to see Lenore above those guys, sadly. Maybe next year. I still think that there's a chance for Brock, considering that the only quarterbacks we've seen so far have been Tua Tagovailoa, ranked 91st, and Dak Prescott, who was 79th. If the 49ers can land 6 players on this list in a 6-win season, I think that's a good reminder that the core of this team is still here, and better things may be coming next season. So that's our segment on the NFL Top 100. Now let's talk about my opinions. The superlatives I will be awarding today are MVP, Most Improved Player, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and Rookie of the Year. But I don't want to start with MVP, so let's go in reverse order. First up, the 49ers Rookie of the Year. No surprises here. I'm going with first rounder Mykel Williams. I think Mykel will be a full-time starter immediately. I think he'll make an impact in run defense, and I hope he'll make an impact rushing the passer. I think he's got Defensive Rookie of the Year upside, and so he is a shoo-in for this award here in my made-up awards show. Because really, I think he's the only rookie on the team with any sort of upside to win Offensive Rookie of the Year or Defensive Rookie of the Year across the entire NFL. Now let's move on to a bit of a more competitive award, Defensive Player of the Year. And for this award, give me the best linebacker of this generation, Fred Warner. There were definitely a few choices here. You could go with Nick Bosa or you could go with Diamador Lenore, but I see a huge bounce back season coming for the heart and soul of this defense, Mr. Fred Warner. Fred played roughly 75% of the season on a fractured ankle last year, and he still played at a first-team All-Pro level. Once he's healthy and he's surrounded with a little bit more talent, I think we see another year of peak Warner. He is the smartest player on the field. He's a violent and fast run defender, and he's the best cover linebacker in the NFL. I'm never going to forget Fred watching Fred run with CeeDee Lamb up the seam. I mean, God, he is special. And honestly, he's a shoo-in for the 2020s all-decade team at this rate, right? Fred is the clear choice for me. Bosa is phenomenal, but he was a bit quiet last year, and I'm not quite sure how he'll do with all this turnover next to him at the defensive line. How good is Fred going to have to play in order to be considered for Defensive Player of the Year for the whole league? That's what I want to know. Because, I mean, if he's got another peak year in him, he's definitely playing well enough. It's been a while since the linebacker position was seriously considered for that award, too, and I think it would take kind of a down year for the edge rushers as a whole. But, I mean, Warner is just that good. He's undeniably one of the best defensive players in the league, but because of the positional value thing, I don't know that he'll ever really be rewarded. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Now, let's move on to the Offensive Player of the Year. and this one was a very difficult choice for me. I think most of the Offensive Player of the Year candidates on this roster could also be considered for the Team MVP award, and I will not be repeating any award winners on this show, so I've decided to go with, drumroll please, running back Christian McCaffrey. Yes, I am ready to get hurt again, people. The last time that we saw CMC play a real season, he was Offensive Player of the Year for the entire league, okay? And you don't have to remind me. Of course, there were multiple Achilles injuries in between then and now. I get it. There is no guarantee that McCaffrey returns and looks the same as he once did. But I have a gut feeling about this. I really do. I think he'll be back to being a top 5 running back in the league and the engine of this entire offense once again. Now, hopefully he's spelled occasionally by Isaac Guerendo and by Jordan James this year, but I am a CMC believer, and I think we see another 1,500 yards from scrimmage from McCaffrey this season. Now, this next award is Most Improved Player of the Year. I did an episode earlier on breakout candidates, but this award is a little bit different. I'm talking specifically about the player who improves the most, right? We may have heard of them already. They may already be an established starter. I'm just talking pure improvement from one year to the next. And as you may be able to tell by the name Most Improved Player, right? And the award goes to Colton McKivitz. Not the name that I think you were expecting to hear, but I'm honestly pretty confident in this selection. You could sell me on a different choice for offensive or defensive players of the year, but I am pretty sold on this one. We've seen McKivitz get better and better every single year of his career. Plus, this is his contract year, so I would not be surprised at all if we see him play the best football of his career this season on the way to a big payday from some tackle-needy team out there, just like Jalen Moore did this past year. And now, the most prestigious award in this show, the Most Valuable Player. I went back and forth on this quite a bit. Fred Warner got some heavy consideration, as did Christian McCaffrey, but the finalists that I settled on, the nominees, are Nicholas John Bosa, Brock Purdy, and George Kittle. Now let's talk about our nominees a bit. You could argue that Bosa is the best player on the team. He is a force. Offenses have to reckon with. They have to game plan around him. And sometimes even that's not enough. He will beat double teams. Sometimes he will beat triple teams. Yes, he had a down year last year, but there is much improved coaching and there is more talent around him, even though it is younger and less experienced. With these changes, I could definitely see a bounce back year from Nick Bosa. And you could definitely say the same thing about Brock Purdy, who gets his weapons back, plus another year of development as the unquestioned leader of this team. As popular NFL YouTuber Brett Coleman puts it, Brock is not a product of the system. He is the system, and I have to agree. And finally, George Kittle was this team's MVP last year. He's the defending, reigning champion. He was absolutely robbed for first-team All-Pro. Let's talk about that for a second. How did Brock Bowers get it over George Kittle? That's ridiculous. Anyways, back on track. Kittle was absolutely robbed for first-team All-Pro. He was unguardable last year, and he remains the best blocking tight end of this generation. He's on his way to a Hall of Fame track. I think he needs a couple more really great years to get in there, but he's on his way. There are 3 worthy nominees for sure. You've got Bosa, you've got Purdy, you've got Kittle, but only one can be the MVP. And the award goes to George Kittle. I think that George goes back-to-back as this team's MVP. I think with all the mess at wide receiver this year, we see Kittle, for the first time in a long time, become the true focal point of this passing offense, at least in the early part of the season. He's already Brock's favorite target, and when he is mossing 3 defenders in the end zone like he did against the Patriots, he's unstoppable. George is my MVP pick for this season. Were there any snubs? Who do you think will be this team's most valuable player? Let me know in the comments down below. Now, moving on to our next and final segment, what are the most exciting games on the Niners schedule this year? It can be tough to watch every game every year, I get it, but these are the ones that you absolutely cannot miss. I'm kind of cheating on this first one because instead of one game, I picked two. Both of the 49ers matchups against the LA Rams. The first one is week 5 on Thursday Night Football, and the second one is week 10 at 1:25 p.m. Pacific time. I'll be attending the week 5 game. It'll be my first 49ers game in a couple years, and I cannot wait to watch. But beyond my own personal interest in the matchup, I think the Rams are at this point the best team in the NFC West. I've been open about that on this channel. And both of the Rams 49ers games last year were fairly close, but the Rams added quite a bit of talent this offseason as well, and it's clear that these two teams play each other hard. Both of these games will be scrappy, and both of them will be quite important in the NFC West. In my opinion, the division winner will win either one or both of these 49ers-Rams matchups. Then there's the fact that the Rams swept the Niners last year after a years-long streak of the 49ers dominating this rivalry. The Niners may enter both of these matchups as underdogs, which is not a position they are used to being in the Kyle Shanahan era, and I'm excited to see how they respond to that challenge. The next game I want to talk about actually comes the week after that first Rams game in week 6 on the road versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This game is going to be tricky for a bunch of reasons. First, you got to look at the scheduling. The 49ers will be coming off a mini bye week thanks to the Thursday night game the week before, but they'll also have to travel cross country and play on the East Coast in the 10 a.m. Pacific time slot. Those early games are always tricky for West Coast teams, especially when you're playing a team as good as the Buccaneers. The Niners-Bucs game last year was a back-and-forth battle that ended with a game-winning Jake Moody field goal after 3 missed kicks earlier in the game and some sideline antics from Deebo Samuel and Tabor Pepper. That was an ugly moment for the Niners, but there were some highlights in this one as well. Ricky scored his first career touchdown, shout out Ricky Pearsall. George Kittle caught a wild off-script toe tap score from Purdy, and Baker Mayfield held off Nick Bosa to deliver an unreal pass on 4th down. I don't know that there was a moment in this season I was more frustrated than when Baker stiff-armed Nick Bosa and converted that 4th down. Baker's a really fun player to watch, and that Todd Bowles-led defense is stout. I expect some more fireworks from this year's version of the matchup. Both the Buccaneers and the 49ers will hopefully be healthier. As you may remember, the Buccaneers were missing not only Mike Evans, but Chris Godwin, I believe, also in that matchup last year. I hope we get to see these two teams at full strength, because if we do, that's a ton of talent on the field, and I bet it'll be a great game. My last must-see matchup is much later in the season, Week 17 versus the Chicago Bears at Levi's Stadium. Now, of course, this depends on the Bears playing playoff-relevant football after Christmas, which is unlikely considering they are the Bears. But aside from that historical context, this game should actually matter. With Ben Johnson, Dennis Allen, and a completely revamped offensive line, the Bears should be at least in contention for a playoff spot, just like San Francisco this season. And if those two teams are fighting for one of the 3 playoff spots, this game very well may determine who makes it in and who's sitting at home during the wildcard round. This could be essentially the playoffs before the playoffs. The Rams, Buccaneers, and Bears games I think will all be intense, competitive, and important games for the 49ers this season as they look to make it back to the playoffs. Are there any games that I missed? Are you planning on going to a game this year? Let me know down below, leave a comment, leave a like, and let me know if there's any topics you'd like to see me cover. Thank you all for watching, and subscribe for 49ers videos 5 days a week. I'm Brady Grustas at GrustasBrady on X. This has been Niners Now, and I'll see you tomorrow.